You're on the stage about to give a keynote and you don't know what to do. Let me help. All right, so this video is about having a keynote talk that maybe you've never given before, or you have a team meeting, or you have an event, and you're the speaker or you're training someone who's never actually done it before, and they've never been in front of a group, and they don't know exactly what to say, and how do I engage the audience, and how do I make this something that's gonna be impactful and not waste people's time? Well, let me give you a couple key points that are gonna make your next talk remarkable. First, you gotta begin with the end in mind. I like to go as practical as how much time do you have? Who's going to be in the room? What is the outcome in the heart and the head that you want to get from the people that are actually going to be in the space? Because if you get there, you're going to have impact. Listen, let's be honest. Most keynote speakers we hear, we're going to remember maybe one thing they say if it's overly remarkable. I had an event recently where a lady had heard me speak about a year before, and she said, "Billy, I love when you came and you spoke at our event." And I said, "That's remarkable. What's a couple things you remember? Is there anything that you recall?" She goes, "No, I don't really remember much of what you said. I remember it being fun, and I remember how you made me feel." So that's really the ultimate goal of this thing, is begin with end in mind. You want to get folks excited, you want to get into some specific thing you want them to know. What is the reason? If you can get to that bottom line and be really clear, then you can build out a talk that actually matters. Number two, add key points and have a bottom line. I recommend things in threes. Whenever you go beyond three, if you had 4 or 5, it's just way too many for folks to remember. Even if they're taking notes, you can boil it down to 3 things. And even, I know it might be a little bit cheesy, but if you can make it spell out a word, or make it add to each other, or have it be a way that those 3 things connect to where at the end of it, they're actually gonna say something to somebody else about it. That is something that I've learned over time of being on stages, is that if you can make it really easy for the audience to understand, they're actually gonna do something with it. So I recommend 3 simple points with 1 bottom line. Write those out first, wrestle with that. Have your team maybe speak into it. Send out to folks that are gonna hear you speak, "Hey, what do you think about these?" Get buy-in. I realize that people support what they help create. When you bring folks into this idea and get those 3 points, get that bottom line before you start, your talk is not easy from there, but definitely easier. Number 3, enhance. Now, I gotta be honest, as a keynote speaker, I lean way too much at times on visual aids or videos. There's been times where the projector goes out or my screen goes out and I'm standing there with no visual aids. And so I have to learn how to make that something that's just additional if I have it. Now, what's powerful in a talk, we all know this already, is a story. If you have a powerful story for those 3 points, I would write down a couple, maybe 2 or 3 for each one, and then wrestle with what makes the most sense with each of those points. As I'm even standing here making this video, I'm thinking about talks that I've had the opportunity to be a part of where a story really landed or a story did not land at all because it had nothing to do with the topic that was at hand. So I challenge you to enhance it. Maybe even a visual aid. I heard a young lady give a talk one time where she brought a backpack out, had it on during her talk, put it on the chair, and unpacked that backpack with several things inside of it that connected with the points that she just talked about. It was her clothes. It was amazing. I still remember the visual of her standing there with the backpack. I remember the notebook. I remember the compass. I remember the things that were inside of that backpack. So even for me, as someone who takes in a lot of content and listens to a lot of keynotes, having that visual aid, whether it's something on a screen or a video or something that you have physical, it is absolutely powerful to drive your point home. Number 4, think about the audience. I would even say physically sit in their seat. Practice the actuals is what I like to call it. Now, what questions can you ask in the middle of your talk? Think about that person that's sitting there. Is how can you engage them around that point that you're going to share? What is maybe something you can use on the screen? I know Mentimeter, there's several other platforms you can actually get folks to pull out their phones, use a QR code, actually engage with you. You can put the answers up on the screen. I saw a gentleman recently at an event who used Mentimeter, and he had a very sort of controversial topic, and folks were typing in words to describe something he was mentioning, and he was reading those words out loud. It's a bit risky as a speaker, right? Because you never know what somebody's gonna write. I've seen some funny things up on the screen. But it gives that practicality of really connecting and thinking for the audience. People feel heard. We all want this, right? We all want our point of view, our perspective to be heard. And I think as a keynote speaker, when you're prepping, whether you're an event planner or someone who's brand new at the game of speaking, is how can you think for your audience? How could it not be just self-serving? How could it be something the audience actually needs to hear? All right, number 5, my last one, this is a bonus one, if you will, is that you hit the nail on the head. Did you actually do what you were tasked to do? Did you actually accomplish the goal? Is there a win at the end of it? Can you pop the champagne and pour it over your own head at the end that it was actually a win for you? Now, what's measurement of that? Did your the person that hired you, or the person that's putting on the talk or put you on the stage, that person that's going to be giving you a high five on the side of the stage after you do your talk, is that person going to be excited about what you just shared? I've had moments in my career where I get off the stage and I feel like I nailed it. The event planner's fired up. It really hit the nail on the head. They loved it. It was amazing. And I've had other moments where I get off the stage and it was kind of like, yeah, it was good, but it didn't quite hit their goal. I think the content was good, but it didn't quite get to the goal of the actual event planner, the actual thing that was supposed to do. And this is me just being honest with you. I have to really mentally wrestle to get there ahead. You're almost playing a bit of the tour guide, right? You're way ahead of where the audience is going. You need to have seen what they've seen and take them on that journey with you. So I hope these 5 points help you as you're thinking about your very first keynote. I think if you're a seasoned veteran, these things can help you as well to sort of go back to basics of how to become a great keynote speaker. So if you're hiring a keynote speaker, here at Elevate Experiences, we'd love to be a part of your next event. As a matter of fact, right down below, my call to action for you is to download our Elevate Your Engagement Playbook. Listen, it is a phenomenal way to engage your audience. I mentioned thinking about your audience, right? That's a way for you to do just that. So download that. We'd love to connect with you. Give me your comments down below on one of these that stood out. Love to hear from you. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. We'll see you soon.